All right, we got the wholesome one, Dwayne Holloway, on the line from YouTube fame. So you can catch his channel at the wholesome one here on YouTube, talking Miami football. And Dwayne, you showed up at a great time because
Wonderful.
we're talking Miami
Wonderful.
football.
Can you hear me nice and clear now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me nice and clear?
Excellent.
Perfect.
Good to have you.
Perfect. Glad to be
So
on.
you show up at a good time because we just had a caller ask me, what is it going to take for Miami to make the college football playoff? So I outlined for him that certainly you need to take care of business. Let's state that first and foremost. You cannot lose again. You got to win. Number one, you want Clemson to show up undefeated in the ACC championship game. That's number one. Number two, some of these periphery teams that you've already played, you want them to play out their schedules well. LSU in particular, Florida State to a certain extent. And then number three, you got to give me the scenario of what's going on elsewhere. So he kind of threw Notre Dame at me as a one-loss team versus Miami as a one-loss team. And I was just in the middle of giving at least my perspective on Notre Dame versus Miami's case. And I think Miami winning an ACC championship game, winning a major conference with one loss against the team the likes of Clemson against a Notre Dame that doesn't play in a conference, doesn't have to play that 13th game, that it should go to Miami. But I think you have all sorts of things to worry about before worrying about a college football playoff appearance.
Correct. I personally agree. But as of right now, and it pains me to say this, but as of right now, Notre Dame has the better chance.
Well, sure they do. They haven't lost a game.
Right. And we're going scenario, which I like doing that, especially on this channel, because you always have, the statistics to back up, and we can go back and forth with it. But a one-loss Notre Dame team that is not in the conference, doesn't have that backing, and also, we can't really say the brands because the U and the ND, they might be on the same level. Maybe historically, you can say Notre Dame might be on a different level. But that U carries weight, especially an ACC championship winning U, especially against a program who recently, within the last 3 or 4 years, has won a national championship. So if we were to beat Clemson, that would be huge. And I don't know if Clemson will have a loss. We hope they don't, but I don't think they would. But that would be the only way we can get in. And even then, I think it'll still be a conversation, because if LSU has another stumble towards the end of the season, like they did going into Gainesville and losing to Florida, which was a great game. The score doesn't really illustrate how close of a game that was, eluding that pick six, towards the end of the game. They kind of had it pull away for a while. But if we can have LSU win out, or at least make it a game against Bama. I forgot about that. The Bama game is still coming. But if they're able to fight hard against Bama and at least finish out, 10-2, somewhere around there, that'll help our cause.
We got Dwayne Holloway. He's the wholesome one. Please catch him on YouTube here talking Miami football. It's the wholesome one on Twitter and on YouTube. Just search right here on YouTube. So Miami coming off a nice win against North Carolina, where they did what they needed to do, dominated the game from pretty much about the second or third drive of the game on, 47-10. They've got Virginia in Charlottesville. It's a much different Cavalier team than what we saw last year when they went to Miami and gave the Canes fits until sometime roughly late third quarter, something in that range. Kurt Benkert had a great first half, and Virginia was throwing the ball all over the field at that point, but Miami came back and stormed back for the victory. So you got Virginia coming up. Before we talk about the Cavaliers, your thoughts about N'Kosi Perry? Obviously, he's front and center now. He's coming off a 13 for 32, but stats lie at times. There were some drops. There were also just some situations in which he just decided to throw the ball away. The Florida State defense played rather well most of the game. Your thoughts about N'Kosi?
N'Kosi Perry, like I've alluded to before, I was the Malik Rozier guy. I was the guy that was behind Malik Rozier and saying, yada, 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 fifth-year senior. But that guy's behind us now. He where he should be, holding a clipboard and sending in signals to N'Kosi Perry. Just to see a guy, and anybody who's not only a fan of just the University of Miami, or if you love college football no matter what, you all can really feel where I'm coming from when I say it feels great to have a quarterback that you're confident in. Not necessarily saying he's going to go down. If we're down by 4, I know in my heart he's going to go get 6 or 7. It's just that he may make one mistake a game, maybe 2, but that's about it. This guy, just to see the throws he's able to make, in that Tallahassee game, he made a lot of great throws down the seam to Jeff Thomas. The deep ball is back. I haven't seen deep balls like that be thrown since Brad Kaya. And before Brad, Ja'Cory Harris, throwing to Travis Benjamin. And that's a decade ago, if you can believe that. To see the deep ball accuracy, to see the steely-eyed focus, the way he takes command of the huddle, the way I hate to say it like this, but it's kind of like Baker Mayfield starting for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, everybody's behind him. The fans, the players, the O-line blocking harder, wide receivers going after the ball in space. There was one time he threw a seam route to Cager. I mean, we were attacking the seams pretty hard against Tallahassee. And Cager drops the ball. But that was because he was in triple coverage, and I don't think Cager's used to getting that ball thrown to him with such accuracy that it caught him off guard, that this kid, wow, he really put that ball in that pocket. This guy can honestly be the quarterback to take us to the next level. If I'm being honest, if we keep Malik Rozier, we might end up 9-4, 8-5 season. This, having N'Kosi Perry, keeps us at my 11-1 guesstimation, hypothesis, however you want to say it, educated guess, on to for the rest of the season.
All right, so we've got Miami with 1 loss. It's out of conference, so they control their destiny in the Coastal Division, and they will continue toward that division championship quest when they take on Virginia on the road in Charlottesville. They've got a couple wins under their belts in the ACC against North Carolina in particular already. So your thoughts about the matchup against Virginia? Virginia lost to North Carolina State. That was a fairly close game. The week before, they went to Louisville. And actually, Louisville came into Virginia, I should say, and they dusted off the Cardinals, which isn't much of a team this year. It's not the typical Louisville team, and Virginia won that game 27-3. So I don't know if you've had much time to prep Virginia, but your thoughts about the Cavaliers matchup.
UVA is one of those schools, just like North Carolina, they tend to play very close. I don't know why. I don't know how. But, if you look over the last 10 years, Mark, these games are a lot closer than the ratings, the level of NFL talent, the athletes that are on the field would make it. If you look at it on paper, you would think, oh, why doesn't Miami blow these guys out every year? They have some type of formula, some type of attitude that when they play the U, it's their Super Bowl. It's their ACC championship game, if you will. They play us hard, and I honestly think the game will be a lot closer at the beginning, similar to what we went through last year, because we played them. Was it the exact same time, or was it after the Notre Dame game we had in Virginia?
I think it was after Notre Dame.
Yeah, because I believe the commentators kept saying that,
Yeah, it was right after. It was a noon game.
Right. So we just went from a primetime ABC, thriller. Well, it wasn't a thriller. We kicked their behinds. But it was great for us as Canes fans to a noon game You know, the stands weren't too packed. We kind of started off lackadaisical. But Mark Rick said something today. Well, actually, he said it Monday that really resonated with me. He said that it's a lot easier to collect a team to focus when you're going on the road. You don't have any recruits coming in on visits. You don't have to worry about family members and tickets. You don't have to worry about things that happen at a home game. When you're away, you know you have to start off strong. You know you have to be focused going into the game. So putting those guys' heads together and getting them to focus back up will be a lot easier away. I personally agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. This is their homecoming. They put us as their homecoming. That in of itself is enough disrespect for me, saying that we have to come focused for this game. They're going to come out guns blazing. They just watched our defense give up some big plays in the passing game. It was some trick plays, whatever, but they're coming off a bye week. They've had plenty of time to sit down and watch where we have our faults at, who they can attack in the passing game, things of that nature, where we're having problems in open field tackling. Hey, those coaches get paid millions of dollars too, Mark. I honestly think they're going to come to play, and if we don't slam the door early, I honestly think it might be a 14 to 10-point game if we don't blow them out early.
So, Wholesome One, you mentioned, I believe, on Twitter that the Florida State win was a good win. And I understand that line of thinking because Florida State has an extremely talented roster. They are the rival. And you just want to beat your rival. You want to get out of there. And number 3, although it was ugly getting down 27-7, you were able to come back and score the final 21 points of the game. And anytime you can do that, that's a pretty rare accomplishment to come back against a Power 5 team 20 points down late third quarter and get it done. So you feel pretty good about the win, regardless of Florida State struggling and it only being a 1-point win.
Mark, that game is the most important game on our schedule every year. Especially to a guy like me, played Optimist football with Dalvin Cook, you know, played against a lot of those guys that went to Tallahassee, know a lot of their recruits. That game means the world. I was overcome with emotion. I'm at work and I just broke down. I couldn't hold it in because and people up in North Dakota don't really understand what that means, you know, that game means to us. But, you know, those guys gave their all in this game. Like I said in my YouTube, on my channel, The Wholesome One, I said that these people would much rather be 0-4 and beat us than be 4-0 and lose to us. This game means amazing amounts of importance to both teams. So to see a team like us, who for the last 10 years, how many of those games have been within 4 points? If not all of them, excluding the 2013 game, which was 41-14. They blew us out on primetime TV. But that was only out there the third quarter, and Duke Johnson broke his ankle. But even when we were nowhere near the same caliber as them, you know, they're bringing in 5-star recruits left and right. 2016, they just came off of the number 2 recruiting class in the nation, and they win with a blocked extra point.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, they won the game. There's nothing that we can say. The refs shouldn't have called Mark Walton's 60-yard touchdown back for an abysmal holding call. But at the end of the day, history is going to say a W. And that is all that matters in this series. Wins and losses, whether it's wide left, wide right, a blown coverage here, a drop touchdown there, a strip sack that wasn't to be. It doesn't matter. We got the W. They took home an L. With that horrific backpack, they took an L. folded up real nice, and put it right in their Door Explorer backpack and took it home.
So yeah, the win has to be evaluated differently than other wins because of the rivalry, the tradition, and even the current talent on the Florida State team. Even though it's an underperforming, it's one of the more talented teams that you're going to play this year. LSU and Florida State; those are the two most talented teams in the regular season you're going to play. But Wholesome One, you do understand the concern if you're a Miami fan, or the criticism if you're not a Miami fan of, okay, Florida State's been generally awful this year. They barely beat Samford. They had to come back from 2 scores down to beat Louisville in the fourth quarter, who's been awful. And we were letting them win this game by 20 points for the majority of the game. Florida State was outplaying Miami. So, you understand the cause for concern from that standpoint.
Of course. And on my review, which I will be uploading tomorrow, I'm trying to edit it and make sure that it looks nice and really get my point across. The win is what I took from it, but everything else was unacceptable. I mean, we're ranked 69th in the country offensively. Let that sink in. With Miami talent, regardless of the star system, majority 83% of our roster is from Florida. And when you speak Florida, especially South Florida talent, you're talking about speed and athleticism. But we have teams like Colorado and Wyoming or whatever ranked above us in offensive production, which is abysmal. That's horrific. And a lot of it has to go to the fact that Mark Richt, his play calling, his lack of aggression, his doing 5 run plays back to back to back, and I could just go on and on. It's unacceptable how the game went. The W is important to me, of course, but at the end of the day, when I went back and watched the film, there were a lot of things that if we ever want to be considered the U nationwide, highly respected again, there's a lot of things we got to fix. A lot of things, especially open field tackling on defense. There was a lot of open field tackling being missed. Now, Manny Diaz is the only reason why we won as many games as we have. Let's be honest about that. And we're ranked number 2 in total defense. So the only thing I would say is let's fix our open field tackling. But offensively, oh, man, it was tough to sit and watch. I had to kind of fast forward to halftime. I just couldn't do it, man. This guy, Mark, he's killing me, man. He's killing me with these offensive calls. But a part of me honestly believes it's the confidence he's getting in N'Kosi Perry. And we saw it in the game, allowing him to drop back and take those deep balls and throw the ball deep. We saw him grow up in the middle of the game.
We got the Wholesome One on talking Miami football. You can catch him on his YouTube channel, the Wholesome One. And I'm just kicking back listening to some Miami football talk, as he knows it as well as anyone. What the Canes are up to and what the prospect is this week at Virginia, coming off the big win against Florida State, down 27-7, coming back to win 28-27, and it not necessarily being a squeaker at the wire where they had to score late. They scored those points very quickly with the turnovers and the quick strike passing from N'Kosi Perry, and most notably the Michael Pinckney pick on the underneath pass from DeAndre Francois on the screen that he missed Pinckney on. So with the quarterback situation upgraded, would the offensive line be the next target of major concern?
Yeah. And we've also made an adjustment to our offensive line. We've moved Donaldson from right tackle back inside the right guard and brought in Scaife, who was a true freshman. We brought him in to play the right tackle. And seeing this young man, I wouldn't say handle, but he did a lot better than I thought was going to happen against Burns in pass protection. Burns really made his plays in the first half. Once we were able to have our tight ends stay in pass protection, have our running backs come help in pass protection, and made that move, Donaldson, who is, to me, can be an all ACC guard, who we were experimenting at tackle, moved him back inside, and last name Taylor, 21. I can't think of his first name, but the interior lineman who was doing great against us in the first half, Donaldson shut him down too. So once he moved inside. So the offensive line, I think, is also a scapegoat that a lot of people love to do. Oh, the O-line wasn't doing this. O-line wasn't doing that. But we definitely – now, one thing I will say, we have to fix the run game. I've seen Old Dominion run all over these people. Virginia Tech was having a ball game running all over these people. Sanford was running the ball all over them. I mean, and then they play us, even though I have said before, when they play us, it's different. But it was still unacceptable to see that. And I love Travis Homer, but DJ Dallas is the guy that really has the hot hand. And we kind of pulled his carries in the second half. I don't know what was going on with that. I don't have inside information on what the issue is going on there. But I think we have to really fix that issue too. But we're doing a lot better with the new offensive line. And now we got to build some chemistry with these guys. With that one in-game adjustment, we were really able to start passing the ball, really starting able to give some more time to N'Kosi Perry. And me, you, and everybody else who was watching the game saw that when you give N'Kosi Perry time, he finds our guys in open field. And I think that issue has been not necessarily fixed, but it's a lot better than it was previously.
Get the wholesome one on the line, talking Miami football as the Canes come off a big win against Florida State. They're 2-0 in the ACC. They're 5-1 with the loss to LSU, of course. They've basically got the Coastal Division to deal with, plus a game at Boston College on a Friday night. And I will repeat, as I did a few weeks ago, or a few shows ago, that I am about 2 to 2.5 hours away from Boston. And I would be a little bit more encouraged to go up to the game and try to get credentials for the game if I knew some Miami fans. And, of course, Boston College fans. This is the voice of college football. We cover everyone. Be encouraged, Boston College fans as well, of people that watch the show would be up at the game. I didn't know that maybe we might have some viewers that will be attending the game, because maybe I'll get up there with some credentials and we'll do some live streams from up at the stadium with Boston College and Miami on a Friday night. So we got the wholesome one here, breaking down the Canes. Are there any particular players that you've been excited to see? We know the stars, but anybody else that you've gotten a look at these 6 games, the first half of the season, and thought, we didn't know much about him in the offseason, or he didn't get to play a whole lot last year because maybe he was redshirting or a backup, but you're pleased with the performance of anyone in particular?
I can give you a couple, actually. Personally, the one person who I pat myself on the back about, the guy that I went all off season talking about, I come on your show and talk about, was Gerald Willis. I kept saying he was going to have a great season and he was going to, take us to the next level as a defensive line, making plays in the backfield, because that's what he was known for in high school. And that's the reason why he was a top 5 defensive end in the country when he signed with the University of Florida back in 2013. So he lived in the backfield. He set a Louisiana record for TFLs back then. Then he comes, to Miami. He was in a rotational guy behind R.J. McIntosh, who was a 4th-round draft pick for us last season. sits out last season, then comes this year, and now he's number one in the watch list. I don't know if it's the Beneric or it's the Lombardi, but might be both, honestly. But he's on the watch list, number one right now. I love to see that. Another guy that I'm actually honestly surprised is Romeo Finley, number 30. This guy, he had a huge pick six against UNC with the he has the Samoan hair hanging out the back of his helmet if people want something significant about him. But Romeo Finley is like a linebacker safety hybrid. He plays that new striker position that we have in our 4-2-5 defense. Like I said, had that huge interception against UNC. He graded out for the first month, or for the month of September, had a 94.5 for Pro Football Focus when they do their college skits. Had a top 5 grade, as a linebacker, which was amazing to see. Jonathan Garvin, a guy who I talked about also, who made some plays, but he was just a situational pass rusher. Take you back to last year against Virginia Tech to seal the game, had a key strip sack, and fell on and recovered it. The very next week against Notre Dame did the exact same thing, huge strip sack. We fell on it to seal the game, really tear their hearts out. Well, now he's tied with Gerald Willis with 12.5 TFLs for this season as a full-time starter. So now we get to see a guy who's really doing things the right way. Quiet guy, under-recruited, coming out of a small school down here in South Florida. Sophomore, true sophomore at that. Out here balling, man. Really, really proud of that guy. Mike Harley has made some pretty big plays offensively. I've been very, very, very critical of Lawrence Cager over the last 3 years. Hopefully he heard me. Maybe that's why he's playing the way that he's playing. But in the absence of Ahmad Richards, which is a sad thing to see a guy like that's career come to an end, but in the absence of Ahmad Richards, Cager has been balling, man. And it pains me to say, but he's a Cane, so regardless, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his production. He's doing a great thing, and I'm proud to see him living up to the hype. Because he was a top 10 wide receiver coming out of high school out of Baltimore in the DMV area. And he was ranked in the top 10, and he was committed to Bama for 3 seasons. So I'm expecting this guy to come be like Julio Jones 2.0 in Miami. Well, that didn't happen for a long time, but this year he's putting together some really good plays, attacking the football. He's playing like a 6'5" guy should play. And that was my biggest gripe with him. He's 6'5", playing like he's 5'9". Who else? DJ Dallas and Travis Homer. Proud of those guys, of course. Consistent pros. One's a talker. One just does his thing. And, Travis Homer, he runs over people, keeps it moving, doesn't say a word, hands the ball to the ref, runs back to the huddle. DJ Dallas runs somebody over, gets in their face and let them know if they ever come back in the hole again, it's going to happen again. So we get a happy medium with guys like that too. D. Wiggins was able to get in the game this past week, number 8, 4 or 5-star recruit guy out of Miami South Ridge. Brian Hightower has showed up. He had that huge catch against and it was against Greedy Williams too. And he's a freshman, and Greedy is one of the best corners in college football. He bombs him in the LSU game. That was huge, even though it was a blowout at that point. But yeah, those are some of the guys. Brevin Jordan. I could just keep going all night long, Mark. Brevin Jordan, man. Woo! Thank God we got him, all the way from Las Vegas at Powerhouse Bishop Gorman, who they've been struggling as of late, but he has been one of the constant great football players. Al Blaze Jr. has been doing well on special teams. So yeah, my guys they're showing up, and that means a lot to me. I'm really happy to see these guys, because when you follow recruiting as hard as guys like us do, you follow um, your team, your neighboring teams. I even had to start following Clemson because they started taking guys out of South Florida and they're balling for Clemson. So I had to start focusing on guys like that too. So it's nice to see that transition of guys go from balling in high school as 4 and 5-star recruits to showing up at the U. Because under Al Golden, these guys wouldn't play until they were junior seniors. And by that time, some have even transferred or kind of lost their confidence. So it's really nice to see Mark Richt, regardless of if you're a freshman, sophomore, he's giving guys an opportunity to play. And I'm truly excited to see it all coming to a head.
All right, he is the Wholesome One. You can catch him on YouTube. His channel, the Wholesome One, covering the Canes. Miami, Virginia is the game in Charlottesville this week. Of course, the Canes coming off the monumental win back from 27-7 late third quarter to win at 28-27 over their arch rivals Florida State. And Wholesome One, I will let you know, and you can rest easy, that we ran a contest between mid-September and October 1st. And basically what happened was I said, people, let me know the 2 helmets you want to see more than any other helmets. You get 2 choices. And so we took a poll. People voted. And the 2 helmets were, number 2 was Oklahoma. And number 1 was, Miami. Miami was number 1.
The U, baby.
They got the most votes. So we're going to be adding Miami and Oklahoma. And I'll probably add a whole bunch more than that, but I guarantee Oklahoma and Miami get added. That harkens us back to big matchups between the Sooners and the Canes that the Canes owned in the late 80s.
Oh, yeah.
We all know and love if we know our history of Miami football.
I still think the boss still hates us, man.
That's it. Yeah. So he is the Wholesome One. And I think we're going to wrap it up. I will tell you, Dwayne, do me a favor, and I'm going to send you either or a tweet to your direct message or an email. I got one thing to ask you offline, but otherwise, please follow him on YouTube at the Wholesome One. We've got Zoe. We got Alonzo1219 on the chat room as well. So he's making his presence known. Unfortunately, he's catching us right at the end. But Zoe, it's great to see you on the live chat, and I'll let everyone know that's watching us right now that loves Miami football. Go check out Alonzo1219 and subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. If you love Miami football, it's great to hear from a number of people because you can hear me, and I'm going to give you just the straight nuts and bolts objective analysis on what I think of Miami football, and I certainly did that following the Florida State game and looked at the remainder of the season and what my outlook is on the chances that I think they have of winning each game and getting to the ACC championship game, and specifically getting through Blacksburg in late November. But you're going to get a different take and a different feel and vibe from Zoe, Alonzo1219. So check him out. You're going to get a different feel and vibe and perspective from the Wholesome One there. We've got Cam Underwood from State of the U. He contributes as well. So all these people come together, and if you love the Canes, then you've got a number of options, and you can soak them all up and pick and choose and appreciate all of us. So it's a good thing.
Most definitely, Mark. Like I always say, I truly appreciate you giving me this platform or helping me to build my channel. Also with Alonzo1219 and all the guys that have really helped me. I'm almost pushing 400 subscribers. I took some time off dealing with school, so that's important. Of course, we all want to graduate. I just got accepted into Arizona State for grad school, so happy about that. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm actually, doing the film analysis and all that stuff isn't just a passion of mine for fun. I actually am trying to get a GA position, so that's something that I'm working into because coaching is what I want to do in the future. So hopefully these you videos don't get me in trouble later on in life. But, you know, that's why I try not to curse or do anything too wild on my channel. But, you know, it was a great time. I truly appreciate you all letting me on. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Everybody knows when it comes to this you know, I love it. But I'll leave you with this, baby. Something I wrote earlier, baby. Roses are red. FSU fans are blue. The last 2 years against this y'all are 0-2.
That's sweet.
I got skills, baby.
you turned it a couple times there. You didn't just go with the roses are red, violets are blue, and then the boom. Just then you turned it again. You turned it again. You gave it a couple more flips there. That was nice.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. I'm no rapper, but hey, when it comes to this I guess I got other powers, man.
Wholesome One, we're going to let you go. We appreciate it. I have been running around here since about 7 o'clock this morning with work and been on this live stream now for pushing 3 hours. So I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to wrap things up and let some folks know what we've got going the rest of the week and what's available to them here at Mark Rogers TV. So I always appreciate the time and the breakdown.
All right, brother. No problem. It's all about you, baby.